Hello, this is the weekly review, making sense of relevant topics and news. It is a program of Sawa Sawa Network. I'm Roger Alfred Yoran Mudir, the producer and host. Joining the weekly review today is Honorable Stephen Par Kuol, the Minister of Peace Building in South Sudan's Revitalized Transitional Government of National Unity. We shall be discussing the work, progress, achievements, and challenges of the Ministry of Peace Building. Honorable Minister Stephen Par Kuol, welcome to the weekly review.
Thank you very much, Roger.
During my research recently, I found out that you are also the secretary of the committee formed to oversee the implementation of the security arrangements of the Revitalized Agreement on the Resolution of the Conflict in South Sudan. I hope somewhere in the middle of this episode, today you will be able to also tell our audience the latest happenings on the implementation of the security arrangements. For now, however, let's start with the National Ministry of Peace Building, which you head. You took oath of office about a year ago. In few days from now, the Revitalized Transitional Government of National Unity will be 1 year old in power. As the National Minister of Peace, in brief, what do you say about peace in the country, given the current situation?
Well, our country is in the crossroads. We have signed a peace agreement in September 2018. Guns have gone silent throughout the country, with the exception of some incidents here and there, and the intra-communal violence that we still have in some states of Baragazal and part of Upper Nile. But overall, the country is heading in the right direction to a sustainable peace.
The ministry is new, of course. In September last year, you were quoted in the media saying that you were working on policies and strategic plan of the ministry. Could you give us an update on that, the policies and the strategic plan that you've been working on?
Yes, the Ministry of Peace Building has been structurally established. We have just appointed an undersecretary. I have also appointed some directors. The 4 directorates of the ministries are now the vacant position there have been filled. I'm also working with the Ministry of Public Service to fill positions of the lower rank civil service position and program officers in the ministry.
And also, you also said that time also last year that you were working on concrete proposals on how to address communal violence in many areas in the country. Also, we would like to know what are those concrete proposals so far to address communal violence, or you've not finished developing those proposals?
The ministry is practically involved in the intra-communal peacemaking processes, and we have been active in Lagos State and Jonglei. I personally went myself to Pibor, and I took the chiefs of Murle to near chiefs and youth in Pieri, and that was something that is going on until now, with the help of some partners like Peace Opportunity Funds, the UNMISS Civil Affairs, and other community-based partners. We are making progress. Recently, we had Murle to Murle meetings. We are also planning to have Nuer meetings and the Jiang meetings. After that, if we get funding, we would like to bring the leaders of the youth, traditional authority figures in all of those communities that have been fighting. That is in Jonglei. In Lagos State, we managed to bring the youth together. And the Jonglei youth used from the administrative area of Fibor, plus from youth in Rumbek. We brought them together for peace education training and dialogues. So the ministry is already active
Mhm.
on the ground in this grassroots peacemaking process, which we also call people-to-people peacemaking process.
Then also, there have been also violence in some parts of Equatoria, especially with those uh, movements or parties that did not sign the Revitalized Agreement. And you did not mention them. And also the issue of land. For example, recently we've seen communities in Equatoria talking about land and differences and all these disagreements with other communities. Has the ministry thought about those issues, including uh, land issues, communal issues within Equatoria, and also the fact that there are some parties that have not signed the agreement? Do we have an approach for those parties for on peace? Because the ministry is also responsible for building peace.
Well, when it comes to land issues, the
Yeah,
Ministry of Peace Building does not come in.
I'm
When it
not.
comes to land issues
Mhm,
like land grabbing and uh, and other local conflicts based on the land grabbing and all that, those
mhm,
are legal issues being addressed by the state government and the national governments can address. In Equatoria, we had uh, inter Mundari fighting that has also been addressed with the help of the government of Central Equatoria. In Equatoria, we also have hot spots. We have what we call conflict mapping.
mhm,
We have discovered conflicts here and there. There was a time when the Mundari encroached into Pajulo land, and there was fighting over there. That has been resolved. We have another hot spot in Eastern Equatoria, between Boya and Taposa. That conflict is also being addressed. That is in Equatoria. When it comes to the Nas rebellion,
mhm.
that is a rebellion, that's Ham rebellion. This cannot be addressed by the Ministry of Peace Building. The national government as a whole is responsible, and you have seen the initiatives that has been taken by the Catholic Church in Rome, and the Rome track is still on course. I have not participated in that process, but I have a knowledge that it is just being halted now, maybe by the COVID-19, because we are now technically on lockdown.
Uh, we have been reading, in the reports and in the media that, uh, and this is we are switching to hear about the implementation of the transitional security arrangements, especially the committee that oversees the implementation of the security arrangements, which you are secretary of. So the issue of the security arrangements, graduation has not happened. We hear that the forces are lacking food. Some are probably deserting the cantonment or training sites. What could you tell us about the implementation of the security arrangements?
Well, we started well way back in 2019, 2018. 2019, we started well. We managed to bring our joint forces for training in training centers like Gorom, like Miridi Training Center,
Mhm.
Tobadia, um, Rajabs, and Rambu and all of those places here in Equatoria, in Baragazal, Mapel, and so we managed to do that. But now the challenge is are so enormous. And our cantonments, most of our cantonments now are not functioning. Ideally, we are supposed to have functioning cantonments and functioning training centers. Food shortages has been the major problem. Actually, not only food shortages, our troops in the training centers need shelter, need medicine, um, all those necessities for human life. Those are lacking, and simply because our funding is so limited. The international community is not providing enough, and the economic crisis in our country, as you know, has worsened this thing. Training, cantonments, graduation, as you correctly put it, those are huge operations that need a lot of money, which we don't have at this point.
So,
So those are the main challenges. They all have to do with finances.
so right now there is this is stalemate. Like the process has stalled. Things are not moving forward, and what has been achieved is also disappearing with the fact that some forces decide to go and look for food on their own and all this. How could the situation be helped? You know, you are technical. You are in the committee, and what are better
No,
ways?
the process just needs funding, as I told you. Amidst all these crises of COVID-19, which has affected the oil prices, our country oil revenues, the prices in the world markets have, come down so badly. We don't have any other source of revenues that covering. We are also suffering from other things such as floods in Upper Nile. So you have the floods, you have the insecurity, you have the COVID-19. All these crises have, direct ramification on the implementation of the peace agreement.
But that's the situation. So the government is completely helpless now, completely hopeless on when and how to get money for the graduation, even just simple
Well,
graduation.
I don't think that the Artigono is completely helpless. We are trying our best to finance the process with all the difficulties that I have just told you.
Okay. And let's go back to the ministry. What could you say as the achievements and even challenges of the ministry in brief, as we are almost heading to the end of the program? Uh, Before I answer
Well,
the question, as
you,
some of
you
the
you know
achievements,
this
major
this
achievements,
ministry,
yes.
this ministry is new. Um, it is a ministry under establishment. We started from the scratch. We didn't have building, and now we are building. We are moving to our buildings within the next 2 weeks. Um, Now we have undersecretary appointed. We have the head of directorates appointed, and we are working with the public service to complete the process of uh, uh, you know uh, filling the back end position in the ministry. We have made a tremendous progress, the, structurally speaking. Um, the only challenge we have is the same challenge that every institution of our country is now facing, and that is lack of money to do most of the things. Running a public institution always requires money. My ministry is new, but it's a huge ministry. Uh, uh, if you look at the program we are embarking on, such as people to people peace, dissemination of the peace agreements, and so many other operations. We need a lot of money, which we don't have simply because of the economic crisis that I narrated before.
Well, on the issue earlier mentioned, land being a legal issue that can be solved through the legal processes, and then the parties to the non-signatories to the peace agreement being a force that is still in conflict with the government. It is the government that will, the national government that will handle those issues. That is correct in terms of the processes that are available, the legal processes. But in terms of the need for the ministry to develop even policies or suggestions, proposals, and all this, you don't see that the ministry should get involved, especially on those issues, including land that could become communal issues more than individual.
That belong to the community, but regulated by the state. If there is land grabbing here and there, it is a matter of law enforcement, in my view. I know land grabbing can create conflict, which eventually will be part of the program of the peace building ministry. The transitional constitution of South Sudan 2011, as amended, is very clear on land issues. Constitutionally, land belongs to the communities, but regulated by the states. That is what our constitution says. So land grabbing issues are issues of law enforcement. Enforce the land laws, enforce the provision of our constitution, and the rest will take care of itself. Now, I know that land, conflict over land will affect the peace process. That I understand very, very clearly. But until it get to that point of communal violence or some sort of political violence, the Ministry of Peace Building does not come in. It is within the domain of courts and the local authorities.
And with what I said about giving maybe proposals or suggestions on how to end not only the rebellions that are available at the moment, but entirely any other rebellion, so that they don't reoccur in the future. You could develop ideas on that to help the government.
Now, I come again. I didn't hear you.
I'm saying, as far as armed conflicts is concerned, looking into the current parties that have not signed the agreement, but beyond that, so that we don't have conflicts any other time in South Sudan, is the ministry also aware that it could play some role in addressing or finding solutions that are long lasting in the country?
Well, negotiation between the all-out groups and the Artigono is not necessarily a responsibility of the Minister of Peace Building. It's a responsibility of the national government and the President of the Republic, General Salva Kiir Mayardit, has formed a delegation to meet the all-out groups in Rome. I have seen that they have made good presentation. Yeah, there are difficulties like we had with the R-ARCSS. It took so many years and months for us to reach the agreement that we signed twice. The R-ARCSS and the original R-ARCSS that collapsed in 2016. That's the nature of the beast. Negotiating peace is always, a progressive process. It cannot be an event, and I think the national government of South Sudan, the Artigono, is doing its best.
As I almost end the program, could you also author a book, War Talk in Peace Talks, or something of that sort? I read it briefly online, but I couldn't research much on it. So would you be able to tell us something about that book?
Well, I cannot read the book. I cannot read the book for you. I want you to read the book, buy it and read it. But War Talk at Peace Talk is all about the talk fight that we had to produce the R-ARCSS. And the original version of R-ARCSS. That was an agreement that was negotiated for a very long time. And my view is that we were not actually negotiating peace. We were fighting as we continue negotiating. We were fighting at the table, war of words, while the ceasefire was being violated and our forces on the ground were fighting. It's all about the book. That's the summary. The goal is to take you, the people who did not participate in the negotiation, to that table, to that room where we produce our ARCSS, which is being implemented with difficulties.
Now,
That's all about the book. But I will encourage you to buy it. It's a controversial book um, uh, to some people, but it's very informative to some people. Read it and critique it.
and
That is the intellectual discourse
and
that is intended by writing book.
for our audience, what would you say? Because you were saying there was war talk in peace talk. Now you people are in Juba. You are with the government already. You are partners in this transitional government. Are there still war talks there, or it's only peace talks now in peace?
Well, there is a mix of both, but I want you to take it like this.
Uh,
In this country, we never had a culture of dialogue. We have had just culture of political violence. We are war cultured society. There is a political militarism, and which I have seen as a cause of the war. That mentality is still there, but you must also appreciate that the fact that we dialogue and and we are here working hard to bring peace is a progress in my view. Yes,
fi-
there is a war talk here and there, but we are now talking peace.
Finally, as the Minister of Peace Building, what's your message to the parties to the agreement, the Revitalized agreement, and the people of South
Uh,
Sudan in general, and the people of South Sudan in general, including those in the camps in other countries and displaced internally?
well, our people everywhere should join the peace process, and all of us are building blocks of the peace building that we are building. All of us. This can be built. This cannot be built by individuals. The English saying that there is, a tree does not make a forest. So many trees make a forest. Our people in the refugee camps, our people in the the refugee camp in the neighboring country, the IDP camps here in the country, our people in the countryside, all of us in urban cities, we are all responsible for peace making, peace building. We, as a people, as a country, we are being faced by so many crises, COVID-19, floods. We don't have any other options but only to implement the agreement. The Artigono is a government of agreements to implement the agreement. If you read chapter 1, article 1 of the, so could resolve in lack of legitimacy, because it is this agreement that legitimizes these parties to rule the country now. Otherwise, the agreement is very clear that in 3 years, we are supposed to give the people of South Sudan an opportunity to elect their own leaders. Our responsibility as leaders, as parties now, is to make sure that the people of South Sudan do not go back to war again. Um, that is political and civic responsibilities of the parties.
Well, with that, our dear viewer, we have come to the end of the program, the weekly review for this week. With me in the studio, joining online was Honorable Minister Stephen Par Kuol, the Minister of Peace Building in the South Sudan's Revitalized Transitional Government of National Unity. He is also the Secretary to the committee formed to oversee the implementation of the security arrangements of the Revitalized Agreement. He is also an author of a book called War Talks and Peace Talks. With that, thank you very much, Honorable.
Thank you very much, Roger, for all that.
As our viewer, you can watch the program on our YouTube channel, Sawa Sawa Network, and you can also follow us on Facebook, Sawa Sawa Network. Thank you very much, and bye for now.